We've got something different on today's episode. We're tuning a Range Rover. That's right, big SUV that makes some big power, and we're gonna add a lowering kit on it and some bigger wheels and make this thing look proper to back up all that new horsepower that it has from a supercharger pulley upgrade. What we've got here is my buddy Steve's 2014 Range Rover Sport autobiography. So if I'm not mistaken, it's got a 5-liter V8 supercharged engine. And he just had the stock pulley, supercharger pulley, replaced with a smaller one and an ECU tune and some BMC air filters, which it was ECU Tuning Group out of Southern California. They take the stock horsepower, which is at 510, up to 605. So it's a healthy jump in horsepower. And unfortunately, I wasn't here yesterday to watch that happen. So we'll take this thing out for a rip really soon. But before we do that, we're gonna install a Rentec lowering module and some wheels to get this thing looking and sitting proper. Here's the reason why we're actually going to lower the truck. These are some big pimpin' 24-inch wheels for the Rover, and that was gonna raise the ride height. So originally, me and Steve thought we're gonna buy these links, and these links are a way to fool the air ride system on the truck into lowering it. But after a bit of research and talking to some people, they're not the ideal method because they can kind of screw up your ride quality. So we've gone to the Rentec lowering module here, and it's all electronically controlled, but it requires a little bit of wiring, and that's what we're gonna get started to. So we've already removed the side panel here, which is what you need to do to access this module. And from here on out, we're gonna be doing a bit of wire splicing. So here's the location of the actual battery. So that was the secondary battery right there, but now we've got the second one, or I should say the first main battery, down deep in the spare tire well. All right, we're at the battery terminal here. We're making moves, getting this thing disconnected. Oh, and this, well, it's the air pump for the air suspension. So we figured that out. We get that sucker off.
There goes the power.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
So what we're doing here is pulling out the connectors that we're gonna have to work on from the lowering module. And as you can see, they're actually color coded, so you're not gonna be able to screw them up when you pull them back, when you put them back in. What we're gonna do now is remove the red end cap on the connector. So as you can see, you just use the screwdriver, you pry it, and then it pops out. Yep. Rentec provides us with pretty detailed instructions here. However, they do provide the pin number, but the pin numbers aren't very easy to read on the plugs. They do have labels. So we've been going off of that, and usually the number 1 is up in the top left corner, and then it goes
left to right.
Yeah, left to right. So it's going left to right. So we're looking for D6, right?
A6.
Sorry, A6, which is on the A plug. So this blue and red wire is what we're gonna tap into for power here. All right, Steve, put the flashlight down. We apologize for the poor lighting conditions here.
So it's just gonna bite through the wire and connect into the positive.
With the clip on, now we plug in the power wire.
Okay.
And there we go. And we did the same with the ground. So those guys are in, and now we're gonna tackle the actual lowering sensor.
All these pins.
Pins, yeah, there we go. So we need D12 right now, which is going to be which one?
So we got 8,
9,
10, 11, 12. So second last middle one here.
Okay.
And we'll release that one. So I've pre-located the wire, so I'm holding it from behind. I counted out my D12 here.
This is the tricky part. There's a little tab that holds the pin in. Using a small screwdriver, you just pull up on it, and there you go. And it pops out.
There's my D.
And just like that. All right, so we found the corresponding Rentec wire, and it has a male pin connector on it, and it obviously plugs into the female side that we just pulled out of the OEM connector. Yeah, you fiddle with it. You got to rotate it, but eventually it goes. You'll see.
There we go.
There we go indeed. And then they provide some heat shrink tubing, but we're not going to shrink it right away because we want to make sure we've got the right plugs, and that would be my recommendation, is not to go heat shrinking everything first. Just test it all, and then you can shrink the tubing on afterwards. So what we did was we took the pin coming out of the Rentec module, and it's the same color as the one we just plugged into
here.
Now we have the ECU side. So now you got to put that back into the actual plug, and that as well is kind of a pain, but you slide it back in, and then what we were using is a screwdriver to push it back in, and you'll know it's in when you hear it click. Close. It's
no,
not
it
there
did.
yet.
It did. Yeah.
Did it click?
I heard it.
Perfect.
So it's in there.
All right. So we have about 4 more of these to do. Once we go through all of them, we'll get this thing connected. We're on to the final wire here on the old brown connector.
Oh no, it's this one.
There you go. Nice pull.
E12, we're connecting it to the last color, which is blue.
The blue one?
Yeah. And this guy goes back in. That's good.
Click?
Yeah.
All right.
Done.
Okay.
It's all.
So there you go.
We gotta shrink wrap them, but we'll do that after.
Yeah, so that's the other side. Now we've got the plug there for the Rentec, all bypassed into the OEM connectors. All right, we're putting the connectors back together here. And now we plug them back into the module. Check the other ones. There's 2 there that aren't.
There you
go. And then the one that we didn't unplug looks like it's hanging down a little bit too. Yes.
Oh.
So now Rentec recommends that we plug in the blank cartridge first. So we're gonna do that because this allows us to test the system out and see if it works properly as is, that we have the wiring correct, and then after that we can put the actual Rentec module in. And the dogs are barking as always.
Okay.
So now we hook the battery back up. The secondary auxiliary one. I'm not even sure if we needed to disconnect this or not, but whatever, it's a smart idea, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and I get
Done.
the big boy.
Hopefully I don't get hit here.
Okay, we have power. I heard some clicking. That's a good sign. Now we start the vehicle up. Okay, so far so good, no errors, and cycle it through, Steve. Okay. Truck is lowering. Raise it back up. Okay, and it is raising. Perfect. And no errors?
No, it's good.
Okay, so it's good. Okay, so now we pull the old one out, the blank. On goes the actual Rentec module. Quick little swap here. Click it in place.
Okay.
All right.
And
I'm gonna
should
plug
we?
the wire in? Yeah, just plug it in there, and then I think we got to grab the tablet. So Steve opted to buy the optional tablet here, right, with software preloaded. And now this allows us to load the data up and send it to the module, but I'm pretty sure it already comes preloaded with it.
Ah, okay.
So see, so now you can do a custom setting here.
Okay, so we're set to stock right now, and I have a new setting here at 30, where I dropped them both to 30 each. And I'm gonna send the data now, and Pete, if you wanna go around and record it, and we'll see what the new normal level will be.
So this is stock ride height right now. And bam, there you go. So that's 30 mil lower, right?
Yep, and that's my new normal though.
Yeah, so now,
in the car, that's normal.
exactly. So now on the actual console, when you hit normal, this is the ride height that it's at. This is a super cool software module because you pretty much get to customize exactly where you want your ride height. So usually you'd use a heat gun for this. Unfortunately, we don't have one at our disposal. So a lighter can work. You just gotta be very careful. And with that wire, we are done here. So our Rentec lowering module is complete. So now we're out on a quick test drive to see how this thing feels and handles after the lowering job. And so far,
Feels pretty good, right?
Yeah, the compliance feels good. Of course, I also haven't felt the 605 horsepower.
Whoa.
Bounce that rev limiter. That pulls good. I think I can feel it. I feel like I can feel it. And the ride compliance is actually really good. It's stiff, it's like sporty all of a sudden with the lower ride height, but it's not harsh. That's the beauty of air suspension.
That was my worry the whole time.
Yeah, I know. When you lower a car, usually it gets worse, but in this case, I'd say it's the opposite. And here's our finished product. We've got the 24-inch Road Force wheels with Lexani rubber on 295/30 24-inch. So Steve bought these for like 2,500 bucks. I'm not expecting the rubber to be pretty great, but for looks and I think all around daily use, you can't beat them. And of course, the Rentec lowering module was a hell of a buy in my opinion, because we've been able to dial in the suspension and ride height to sit perfectly now. And of course it's adjustable, so if we want to raise it or lower it, it's there and good to go. So if you guys like this video and you want to see more content like this, let us know. As always, give us a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe to the channel.